Now, there's nothing actually different about being 80 than about being 40, except it's without sex. But otherwise, it's really just the same. It's to remind us of how much things have actually changed. And you're going to be you're going to be agonized and troubled, and you're going to be impatient, and if you're a young radical, you're going to want to throw bombs or shoot someone. In 1951, at the time of McCarthy, when the leadership of the Communist Party had been jailed, and my own friends were being jailed in significant numbers, we're not talking one or two, we're talking about 200 or 300 young men who were in prison, we assumed in our little bohemian radical community in Ocean Park that we would all be in jail. That was our assumption. Those were the dark days of McCarthy. And some here remember those very well. I know that Fran remember the darkness of that time. We assumed we would be in jail. We had a meeting at 132 Ashland Avenue, one of our little beachfront shacks, to discuss whether or not we should fly down to Costa Rica. We waited until midnight for the meeting to start because we thought one of the men present was an FBI agent. Who knows, he may or may not have been. When he left at midnight, we started our meeting. Very political meeting. All of us there were radicals. Should we fly down one by one to Costa Rica? One of us was learning how to fly a plane. Others were working on arrangements to buy one. And in the end, the decision by our group was that we would have to stay, even though probably we would end up in jail because we really couldn't come back from Costa Rica and be heard with dignity if we had evaded the hard times. So we voted not to go to Costa Rica. Doesn't mean a couple didn't try, they did. They got as far as Mexico City and came back. But that's the climate that we were in. We weren't nuts, we weren't crazy, we were good kids, we were students, we were smart. We were having a very serious discussion about flying down to Costa Rica. Now, I say that because don't give up hope. Things change. As one of those who is a homosexual and was at that time essentially an illegal person, and who only by the grace of God and sheer luck didn't spend time in the county jail on a morals charge, because I mentioned, Alvin Ailey was mentioned in the film, Alvin spent 30 days in the county jail in LA. No one knows that. I hope it's not in his biography. One of my close friends was picked up by a Vice Squad agent on the beach in Ocean Park by an agent that I had said no to a day or two before. You can't imagine what it is like to be an illegal person. And then I watched the discussion about gay marriages. Now, my view on the debate about gay marriages is that I don't realize why homosexuals should be exempt from the suffering that heterosexuals go through. When I think about how things change, in 1950, I came back from New York taking the Greyhound bus through the Deep South. I had been very deeply impressed by Bayard Rustin, who had served time on the Chain Gang, and I had heard him speak in 1949. So I thought, well, I'll sit as far in the back of the bus as I can. I didn't quite have the courage to refuse to move when I was asked to move. That's true. As I said, I am not a very brave person, and we need cowards in the movement because if the movement is made up of brave people, it'll be very tiny, actually much smaller than those we've gathered here. So I moved when I was asked to move. When I got to Texas, the segregation had broken down. It was one large room. It didn't have two separate rooms. And the colored section was marked colored, but it was part of the general auditorium. So I went over and sat in the colored section. And then as I looked over into the whites only section, I saw a young black guy my age sitting in the whites only section. And as our eyes caught each other, we each realized we were resisting. And by the act of resistance, we would never actually be able to meet. Think of how much has changed. Whatever you think about Barack Obama's policy, the fact is he's president. Who would have thought that would have happened in 1950? Don't lose faith in this country. Do not lose faith in this country. Do not look for guidance from some other country, the Soviet Union, which is gone now, or India, which had our beloved Gandhi, or China, or Cuba. Don't look elsewhere. This country, for all of its faults, has a way of changing and adapting, and if we are a serious radical movement, a serious revolutionary movement, we must build on the traditions of this country.